Welcome back to Zan's Weapon Depot, the podcast where we dive into the details of cutting-edge military technology and its impact on the battlefield. I'm your host, Xanatos.
Today we are going to be talking about an iconic aircraft that has been a cornerstone of the U.S. military for decades, the B-52 Stratofortress. Now this might sound like a bit of a throwback, considering it first flew back in 1952, but don't be fooled. The B-52 isn't just a relic of the Cold War era. It's very much a critical piece of today's military puzzle, especially when it comes to the U.S. nuclear triad.
We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed.
In fact, the Stratofortress is still in active service and will likely remain as such with the U.S. Air Force for many years to come. The B-52 Stratofortress was developed during the Cold War. In fact, it was conceived as a long-range strategic bomber designed to carry both conventional and nuclear bombs. The B-52 was a response to the increasing need for a weapon that could penetrate Soviet air defenses and strike deep into the enemy territory with devastating power. The aircraft was built to carry a massive payload. With the capacity to drop up to 70,000 pounds of conventional and nuclear bombs, it could fly at high altitudes and cover enormous distances, an essential quality when your enemy is over 8,000 miles away. With a range of more than 8,000 miles, the B-52 could launch a nuclear strike and return safely from practically anywhere in the world. What's really fascinating, though, is the sheer endurance of the aircraft. Despite the arrival of newer bomber designs and advancements in technology, the B-52 is still with us today. It's been upgraded over time with modern avionics, precision weapon systems, and more efficient engines, which have allowed it to remain relevant and effective for more than 70 years. The B-52 has managed to stay in the game for so long because of her versatility. The B-52 is not just a nuclear bomber. It can also deliver a wide variety of conventional payloads, everything from precision-guided munitions and anti-ship missiles. This adaptability has made the B-52 invaluable in conflicts ranging from the Vietnam War to Desert Storm to even the more recent operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. But when it comes to its most crucial role, it is tied to something much bigger, the U.S. nuclear triad.
Innovation is one of the hallmarks of our service. It's in our DNA. From propellers to jets to rockets, electronic jamming, communication satellites, precision-guided munitions. The list goes on, because the future of U.S. national security depends on our ability to rapidly innovate and to be at the cutting edge of science.
So what exactly is the triad? The nuclear triad refers to the three distinct components of the U.S. nuclear arsenal: the land-based ICBMs, the nuclear-powered submarines, or SSBNs, that we covered last week, and the strategic bombers like the B-52. Each of these components serves a unique purpose in ensuring that the United States maintains a credible deterrence against nuclear attack. If one leg of the triad were to be taken out in a first strike scenario, the United States would still have two other platforms capable of retaliating. This redundancy is key to the concept of mutually assured destruction, which has been the backbone of our nuclear strategy since the Cold War. The B-52, as part of the triad, is the flexible leg. While ICBMs are constant and on alert at all times, and submarines are stealthy, lurking beneath the oceans, the B-52 offers the ability to deploy both conventional and nuclear weapons, and it can be launched with little notice, providing a visible symbol of U.S. power. The flexibility of the B-52 allows it to operate in a variety of scenarios, from a conventional conflict to the potential delivery of a retaliatory nuclear strike in the case of an existential threat. Importantly, these bombers are often kept in the air and on airborne alert missions that allow them to be ready to strike at a moment's notice. It's this kind of preparedness that has made the B-52 such a vital asset. The B-52's role is more than just deterrence. It's about flexibility and in crisis management. Today, even as nuclear technology has evolved and new strategic concepts have emerged, the B-52 still serves as an essential element of the triad's credibility. It's one of the few platforms capable of being immediately deployed into a crisis and sending a clear signal of U.S. intent and capability. And that's where the B-52's psychological impact comes in. Think about it. It's massive and it's intimidating. And it's capable of delivering a very powerful punch. Just the mere presence of a B-52 over the horizon sends a message to adversaries that the U.S. has options, it has reach, and it has the will to use them if necessary. This strategic visibility plays a role in deterrence, which is at the very heart of our U.S. nuclear posture. And yet, despite all of this, the B-52 remains a symbol of the complexity of modern warfare. It is an aircraft that represents both the horrors of nuclear war and the necessity to prevent such a war from ever happening. Its role in the triad has been one of maintaining peace, ironically through the threat of its devastating power. To wrap it all up, the B-52 Stratofortress is much more than just an old bomber. It's a living, breathing example of the military and a cornerstone of our might. For over 70 years, the B-52 has proven itself adaptable, reliable, and most importantly, indispensable to the U.S. defense strategy. It's a legacy of power, deterrence, and strategic flexibility that has shaped how the U.S. approaches global security, and it is likely to continue doing so for many years to come. That is all the time that we have for today's episode of Zan's Weapon Depot. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, the weapons of the past are the lessons of our future. Semper Fi.